Hello everybody from Plant Reviews UK. Today is the 28th of July in my garden in Kent in England, and well, July is the month where my lilies really are in full glory, and it has been a pretty windy period, and I have a few lilies actually that whose stems fell a little bit down. I have to stake them, but however, as you can see, they are in bloom really with a variety of colors. I have both Asiatic that come in their beautiful colors, even if unfortunately most of them are not fragrant, as well as beautiful oriental lilies that and trumpet lilies that are fragrant. You can see here I have the this one is the golden splendor, and that one is the orangey one is the African queen. Very nice orange and a very nice yellow, the golden splendor, while these ones are oriental lilies. I'm not too sure about the names because these ones I planted them without a tag. However, the fragrance is incredible. This one might be Purple Prince, these two. I'm not too sure if that one is Zelmira, but kind of looks like. However, of these two varieties, I'm not too sure about the name. However, oriental lilies, they come, and orient pet as well, that are a cross between oriental and trumpets. Turn up with really most of the time with really beautiful colors and an incredible fragrance. And however, today I am talking about a very pretty species of lily, that is Lilium Calcidonicum. This is a plant that I bought as a little bulb from rareplants.co.uk. It has this website has an incredible variety of rare plants indeed, and I really wanted to try to get my hands on rare lilies, because I love well, rare plants in general, and this one in particular. I also love the red and orange color in lilies. Last year I was very glad that I had a beautiful bloom of Lilium pumilum. I collected some pollen and fertilized some lilies as well as the pumilum. I have some seeds of the pumilum, but unfortunately they didn't germinate this year. I planted them in autumn, so I think I should have instead planted them in spring. And maybe also this winter was very cold, might have damaged the seeds, I didn't, unfortunately, was very busy this year. I didn't sow the seeds of the hybrids between the pumilum and the orientals, or the pumilum and the Asiatic. However, I kept the seeds, so I will try to do this autumn, and keeping some of them for next spring as well, so in spring. However, today I'm talking about this beautiful species. This one is a species of Lilium that comes from Greece and Albania. However, I read that is also native to Tuscany. I'm not too sure. I mean, some plants can have a pretty fragmented distribution, and however, in other websites I found only Greece and Albania as the native distribution of this lily. This lily I bought is a little bulb and planted in autumn in a mix of normal compost soil and half general purpose soil and half grit, because this is a lily that really need excellent drainage. And in winter I kept this pot outside under the porch, so it was exposed to cold temperature. We even had like -6, -7 degrees this year for a few days, but not too wet. I started watering it when I saw the bulb actually, the stem sprouting from the grit on the top. And actually it went pretty well, because the plant started to develop beautiful stems and leaves until we had a very rainy period where slugs and snails started to go rampant in my garden, and from one day to another they basically took all the leaves from one of the stems and munched most of the leaves from the other stem. However, I am very lucky that at least one of the stems was not only able to survive with some leaves, but also bloom with this beautiful flower. The leaves itself are already very peculiar in this lily, because you can see most of the lilies I have, like Oriental and Asiatics, they have these green leaves, just green, well, sometimes yellowish in some cases, but however I don't find any difference in color. However, this one is very peculiar because the leaves are green, but they have a beautiful kind of whitish silver edge. Really elegant. The stem can be up to 1.5 meters. However, this one is about 70 centimeters. No, actually, maybe even 60 centimeters tall. Yeah, it's quite small. The bulb itself is very small. This is a small species anyway, so, and usually it comes out with small bulbs. On other plants, the bulb was advertised as non-blooming size, so I am more than happy that this plant actually bloomed. I also planted a species kind of similar, the Lilium pomponium, in another pot. And it actually started to develop a beautiful stem and leaves, as well as a flower, but when the flower was in bud, we had a very rainy day, and slugs and snails completely ate the pomponium, and in basically they ate it from the stem. I couldn't see, basically in a couple of days, no stem, no flower, and no leaves at all. In this, the chalcedonicum, instead, at least they left one stem with some leaves, so I was able to finally bloom. I'm very sorry, because the pomponium is another beautiful little species with scarlet flowers. So, however, I'm very glad that at least the chalcedonicum got spared from most of the, like, at least was partially spared by the appetite of snails and slugs. The flower is very small, is about, I would say, 5 centimeters in diameter, and it is a very bright orange. It is supposed to be scarlet. In the video you can actually see that it's not scarlet, it's actually orange, and has these little small red freckles on the tepals. The anthers are also very orange. Well, I have a lot of pollen as well. It is a beautiful, bright, vivid lily, even if it's very small, and the filaments of the anthers are white. Unfortunately, this flower didn't develop any stigma, so I'm not able to get any seeds this year, because in the only flower I have, there's basically no stigma. However, this plant usually produces 1 to 4, sometimes up to 6 flowers, I have read. So anyway, this is a very young plant, so this might be the reason, because it made only 1 flower this year. About the fertilizer, I used Miracle Grow pellets, and I put them in in autumn, when I planted the bulb in the pot, and I didn't add any more fertilizer afterwards. Anyway, obviously, due to the fact that in winter it was not exposed to rain or water, the fertilizer, I suppose, didn't get used by or washed out by the in the pot, so it was still very well usable for the growth of the lily, and indeed I have this great flower. The tepals curl upwards towards the base of the flower, and this obviously lead to an appearance of an even smaller flower than actually the flower is, and so it's a kind of a Turk's cup shaped. Kind of reminds me of the Lilium pumilum, another beautiful species with bright orange red flowers. I bloomed last year and I made a video last year. Unfortunately, unlike the pumilum that has a beautiful scent, a very nice fragrance of chocolate, this one I can't really detect any fragrance. I'm not too sure if it is a very faint fragrance, because now my garden is basically inundated by the fragrance of the sweet fragrance of the oriental lilies. However, when I put the nose near this flower, I really can't smell anything, so I think that this flower is not fragrant. Also, I didn't find any note about the fragrance of the flower in any of the sources I got information about this plant. Talking about the cultivation of this plant, as already said, my mix was general purpose mix, 50% and 50% grit. I covered also with grit the surface of the soil to discourage snails and slugs to munch the lily, but obviously that was in vain, because it rained so much for several days in some periods that the slugs didn't took any notice about the grit. And the exposure of the lily is, I found this lily grows in partial shade in its native habitat. However, in the UK where I live, I would suggest to cultivate it in full sun, because obviously the intensity of the sun in the United Kingdom is a lot lower than in the Mediterranean countries such as Albania and Greece, where this lily comes from. And also we have in general less sunny days than Greece and Albania anyway. About the hardiness, as I said, the problem is the winter wet. This plant, the spot, the bulb was outside at -6 and -7 degrees under the front porch of my house, so the temperature wasn't any higher, and the bulb was perfectly fine at this temperature. The only thing is, as several people recommended me on Facebook, there are two great groups about species lily. They said that ideally this plant should be grown in a cold frame or in a cold greenhouse, not so much for the temperature, for the winter temperature in the United Kingdom, but more importantly for the fact that winter can be very wet, and the combination of wet conditions when the bulb is dormant and possible frost during very cold days might actually damage the small bulbs of this plant. So my suggestion is cultivate this plant in either a cold greenhouse or a cold frame, or put the pot in winter under the front porch, and the winter or early spring, and then take it out only later when the temperature goes becomes a little bit warmer. However, I would suggest do not bring it out until you find the stem actually coming up from the ground. That's really my suggestion. Other than that, is a pretty rare lily. You don't find many sellers of this lily around. If you're in the United Kingdom, I would recommend go to rareplants.co.uk. You can find other websites, but again, it's not a very easy lily to find. If you love the color of the flower and the shape of the flower, and you're not able to find the Lilium Calcidonicum, I would probably suggest you go to try to find Lilium pumilum, because it's a plant that is a lot more common and actually is pretty easy to cultivate, even if it's not very long lived. None of my bulbs I had the bloom last year bloomed this year. It's true that I fertilized all of them. They produce a lot of seeds, and I've read that the Lilium pumilum can be very short-lived if starts producing a lot of seed pods. So I might have killed inadvertently the Lilium pumilum. However, I have lots of seeds. I hope that they will be still viable next year. And otherwise, anyway, it's a plant whose bulbs are pretty cheap and pretty easy to find. Usually find them at £5 each, sometimes less. Lilium Calcidonicum instead is a pretty expensive species. This is about, I paid it I think £38 on rarest.co.uk, and it was a very similar price to Lilium pomponium. Obviously about Lilium pomponium I was really I felt really bad when, especially because it was almost in bloom in 2 days, I found it completely eaten by slugs. I was really sorry, so I'm really glad that at least the Chalcedonicum was saved. And anyway, I hope to have given you all the information needed for the cultivation of this beautiful plant. This plant, I believe that the bulbs, you can find the bulbs either in autumn or late winter, early spring. So I've sown this one, I think it was yeah, it was very late autumn, or might have been winter anyway. Anyway, it was before spring, so definitely it was before April, because I remember I had this spot already under the porch when we had like 6 or 7 degrees. On rareplants.co.uk, you in the spring section, they can actually advertise bulb that they can sell already. They can send already by February or March, and I believe this one, the Chalcedonicum, was sent. Yeah, it was sent during winter, possibly not autumn, as I said at the start of the video. Anyway, it was very cold when I planted it and put it under the porch, but anyway, as you can see, it grew very well. The only problem is the slugs. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. It is a beautiful species to grow. If you're able to find it, it is really a vivid, beautiful vivid color, and I will try to fertilize some of my lilies with these very beautiful flowers, and with the pollen, see how it goes, the pollination, and obviously I will keep you updated. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, it would be great if you can please give a thumbs up, and if you like this video and the other videos on my channel, it would be great if you can please subscribe. In this way, obviously, it has no cost for you, but by subscribing you promote my channel on the YouTube platform, that in turn can put advertising on my channel and obviously support a little bit my passion for plants and for making videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.